I see our time has been truncated even further. So we only have less than 20 minutes left now. So thanks to Asim, I'm not sure if he's in the room, but he really set the context for us by showing some really interesting slides. One of them said 64% of PR professionals was using AI in November 2023. So 2023, yeah. So the question is there anybody in this room, please raise your hand, who is not using GenAI? Who's not used ChatGPT or Copilot? Anybody? And I think that's my guess that probably 100% of PR professionals for sure are using AI and GenAI. So just to set a quick context, taking off from Asim's session, we really had, I think, some amazing last couple of years with GenAI's growth. And we are at a point where Asim showed you some very interesting news about some companies firing their employees. And that is actually happening. It's happening not just in the measurement of PR space, it is happening in the high-tech space as well. And that is the agenda for us to discuss today. So two parts to it. One, we are going to be sounding very happy and cheery. We are going to talk about what are the good ways in which AI we can use as PR professionals, and what can we do to improve our powers, become more superhuman-like, and also make our organizations better, faster, and more effective and productive. And then we are going to touch on a little bit of the ominous side of AI, which is it going to really take our jobs away? And by that, I mean really, really take our jobs away, and that applies to all of us in this room. So without much ado, let me just start with the positive side first. And I do have some very stellar panelists with me. Let me start with the question to Pranav. How do we make AI work for us as communications professionals? Now, if you can share some examples, how does everybody in this room use AI to do their jobs on a day-to-day basis better?
Okay, well, thank you for the question. I'll open the panel up. No, I mean, I think AI is, as we've all seen, a great enabler for us in the communications industry. I think certainly there are fears about how AI, as Rishi mentioned, can it replace us, as humans? But I definitely don't think that. I mean, I think the various ways in which AI has been described is like autocorrect on steroids, for example, right? I think there's so many tools available now that you can use in our day-to-day lives to make our work streams more effective and faster and more expedient and efficient. There are tools like Grammarly, for example, which is a great writing tool and a assistant. There are tools like Signal.ai, which helps us identify, threat vectors. It helps us for research. There's Brandwatch, which is more for, research identification. So I think if you look at the theme for all these tools, I think that the way AI is helping us at the moment is across 3-4 areas. I think it's expedient content, it's research analysis. I think it's also brainstorming and ideation for campaigns. And I think it's also for helping us create content, right? Iterative content. So I think that's the way that AI is really sort of helping us.
Shurab, I'm also looking at the clock. So would you want to just quickly jump into your perspective, or just to complement what Pranav has said?
So I would just add to this that it is also helping us measure what we are delivering to our clients, and it's also helping us speed the entire process. I think all of us in the room are using some format of AI, knowingly and unknowingly also. So our devices are actually AI enabled, and there is a lot of conversations that's already been tracked and helping you make those decisions. And today, I think speed, measurement, and analytics, which all of us are thriving on data today, AI is definitely helping us make those informed decisions in our workspaces. I would say that, yes, it is creating magic in everything we're delivering today.
Right. So, Mahesh, I want to come to you with another set of questions. So AI or Gen AI is making a lot of current skills redundant in some way. So be it writing, be it graphic design, and Shivram mentioned measurement, Pranav mentioned research. No, these were valued skills for PR professionals. Are you a good writer? Are you a good designer? Are you a good researcher? Can you write a great pitch? If AI is going to do this job for us, so what are the new skills that people in this room need to develop?
This is a question which can take an interesting turn as well, because like the previous speaker was mentioning, the skills need to improve. We are in the AI generation. So whatever was a routine job, whatever was a job which was getting repeated, all these jobs are going to get automated by AI. This is where the human element comes in. The human skills of strategic thinking, the human skills of emotional intelligence, or the human skills of being very resolute in your analytical skills. So these are skills which a new generation, which the new age is demanding right now. So we need to focus on including those skills in our workforce. Right now, if we are enabling a workforce to do routine jobs better, this is going to not turn into a very good outcome for us. We need to enable our workforce in a matter where human skills are developed more. They get more emotionally equipped to handle all these data, how to make the right judgment using all these tools. So this can have a lot of repercussions on the skills that we are looking to gain, but the skills at the bottom of at the end of the day are going to be the human skills which are going to survive in the long run.
Pranav, you wanted to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that. I think the way we see this as Allison is the fact that we see AI as uniquely human, but reinforced by AI, right? So that's how we look at it. I think to the point that you just made, I think the basic skills of empathy, insight, transparency, connection, I think that does not come from AI in any way. So I think smart communicators will know how to use AI in the best way possible as an enabler. Yeah.
Anything to add, Shivram?
I would only say that, it is throwing up a challenge as PR professionals to add value. We were always known as a value-driven services we provide to our clients. So we now have a tool which helps us increase or make ourselves more relevant. So the more and more we get trained on these tools, the more and more we understand the technology. And yes, I'm sure we're going to talk about how do we use it responsibly. But this is definitely going to help us value add. And that part comes only from the human element. And like you said, writing the pitch notes is not going to go away, but you are the one who's giving the commands in the chat engine to write that pitch note. So as long as you make it different, and as long as we make it interesting, the pitch note will not be interesting. So yes, still you do have it in your hands to make it more meaningful.
Yeah. So Seema, we've been talking about the risks and threats of AI. And Seema, in case any of you don't know, she worked with Microsoft, and Microsoft is one of the biggest players globally in the AI domain. So I want to ask you a very ominous question. How worried we should be in terms of AI becoming as powerful to compete with humans? And we've seen some headlines from the previous session. So is that going to be widespread? Any thoughts?
Rishi, let me just first thank you for that question, and let me take a step back and just bring this quote forward. I'm sure everyone has heard this before, but they say with the great power comes great responsibility, right? And when I deal with AI, I think that thought constantly comes to my mind. But yeah, one thing clearly we all know is that AI gives us access not just to productivity, it's actually expertise that it is giving us access to, right? Which is a powerful thing in itself. Also, the rate at which it is diffusing, we know it's a powerful democratizing force as well. The natural language interface allows access to a whole lot of people to engage with technology in an easier way. So given all of this, I do feel it's very, very powerful, disruptive force. something which we can't turn our backs to, right? Now, of course, if it is all that powerful, there has to be a flip side. And if there is a flip side, I think some of the panelists here already raised those issues around, misinformation, the data itself being manipulated, data which informs AI. There's space for misinformation, there's space for
Yeah, Seema, we'll just come to that in a bit.
Okay.
But I want to just extend this question to the other panelists, and please feel free to, pick the question and run with it. But the question is, are you really observing the pace of evolution and, improvement in Gen AI? And do you think it should be of concern to, do you think it is of concern to you?
Let's think about this. A lot of us have access to it. So that means all of us are using. Till the time, I think enterprises were using AI in some format or the other in the past. Like, there were conversations of predictive analysis, analytics was in enterprise organizations. With ChatGPT and other generative AI tools, now the power is with the consumers. So that is where the entire concern of bias, misinterpretation of data, fake news, all of us are in format or the other been experiencing fake news. I think a lot of chat channels have used this very conservatively. They put a lot of guardrails around it. But this is where now the entire aspect of putting the guardrails around the usage of AI has started concerning us.
So yes, I'm going to come to that guardrails point very soon. But Seema, just continuing with our discussion, you were talking about the fake news and other issues about AI.
Yeah.
So the question is, what are the risks? Or rather, what is the responsible use of AI? How do we explain it in a layman terms to the audience? What do
Yeah.
we mean by responsible use
Yeah.
of AI?
So, Rishi, I think it's all of us people, a civilization together, collectively using AI, and the rules remain the same. I think security is critical, safety is critical, privacy is very critical. This is data which is drawn, of course, from people like us. So I think respect for privacy and also just human rights at some level, I think all of these are like guardrails that need to guide our work with AI. And this is how we need to be able to use it responsibly. These are the values that need to guide us so that we can use AI with greater responsibility. And I think the kind of regulations that we see around the world, in the US, in the European Union, and in India also, I think these are some of the basic values that are informing the regulatory landscape around AI as well. Simple.
Yeah. Thank you, Seema. Mahesh, do you want to build on Seema's question and answer and take us through some examples, what day-to-day examples of responsible use that we can commit to?
So I have a very contrarian view to this. I feel that we shouldn't put any guardrails on AI for now. It's a very early stage for AI. AI is taking different dimensions. With the new ChatGPT release, there are new features that are getting included. The earlier custom ChatGPTs that were being formed on the original model, they all have gone redundant with the new version of ChatGPT that was got launched. So for me, for India to do well, there shouldn't be any guardrails. Like Nandan Nilekani in one of the articles says that we are not here to build large language models. We are here, India is going to be the best use case model for AI in the world. It has the dividend that we used to talk about, the population dividend. So there are more and more people who are going to use it. The more the people use it, the better trained the LLM model is going to be. The more the guardrails are going to put automatically around it. If we see certain AIs also, like for example, ChatGPT would have an open structure, but there are AI models like Claude by Anthropic, which is based on a training module called constitutional AI, in which already a guidebook is there, which is giving the outputs, which needs to be framed in a certain way only. So the errors that are going to come out of the system are going to be much lesser than what we are experiencing as a bias in ChatGPT or Gemini. So we need to use these models in a way that suits us pretty well, right now, every sector is going to come up with GPT models which are very specific for that sector or very specific for that industry. Once that starts rolling in, there would be more avenues for us to see where should the guardrails be, what is ethical and what is not ethical.
So I'm just going to pull the discussion back to the PR industry, and it's a question for all the panelists. How are your organizations internally promoting and encouraging use of AI, and if they are? And you can just talk about some of the tools that you're using and what are the benefits that you're seeing. So Pranav, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. I think the AI rhetoric's been on for some time, last year and the year before that. And I think the technologies evolve and there are many tools and platforms that we can now use. So I read an article in the PR Week that actually said that 2024 is a year of implementation for AI, right? Because you have all of these tools available to us. We've been using a lot of these tools also, and somewhere we've come up with a figure that says that we tell our clients that we've come to about 18%, we're 18% better in operations and efficiencies because we're using AI tools within the organization, right? We are also experimenting with a private chat GPT in-house model, which is trained on our content, on our organizational data, and we can query it for a lot of information that we would otherwise have to ask people over email or look on the intranet or look on Box or whatever that repository might be. So I think we're seeing a lot of efficiencies in information flow that you would have to use other messaging platforms, but now it's available literally within a few seconds at the tip of your fingers, right? So I think that's working quite well. Was that the question?
Yeah. We're running out of time, so
Okay.
I just let everybody answer. Yeah.
Okay, I'm doing a straight brand plug. At Rodafin, we already have started at least on two different aspects. One is the technology itself. We have recently introduced something called the Sonar 5.5, which actually imbibes generative AI already into it. So this is a predictive analysis tool which helps customers across the world to kind of look into the kind of scenarios that are going to emerge when a brand is going into a particular crisis. So this is an industry acclaimed tool and we are very proud of that. The second one we also have is something called the Truth Vector. So it is an analytic based tool again, which clearly identifies fake news versus real news. Also fake profiles vis-a-vis, like today all of the brands are working with a lot of influencers. So it is very important to understand which influencer is authentic and which is not. So this Truth Vector helps you do that. So that's on the tech side, we're constantly evolving because that's what the organization believes on in terms of what next we can bring to our customers and our talent. On the talent side, we spend a lot of time with our colleagues and team members to understand the usage of AI. It is, while the tool is easily available, we are training them constantly to understand the usage of this particular tool. So I'm glad that, the journey has started. I'm sure many of our peer organizations are already doing it, but it is important for us to start the journey. And we are at the end of the client wherein a lot of confidential information is with us. So the more we become more and more conscious about it and take ownership of it, it's on us. So we are not against the usage of the tool, but we definitely want to promote the correct way of using the tool. I wouldn't use the word ethical, I would use the correct usage of that particular tool. So thank you.
Seema and Mahesh. Mahesh, you want to start? How are you using Gen AI internally in your organization?
So right now we are basing all the Gen AI things on already available platform features. Like Box has his Box AI, Zoom has the Zoom AI, Meltwater has an AI function, SCM Rush has an AI function attached to it. What Impact has an AI function attached to it. So what we are using is enabling ourselves to use these tools better. At the end of the day, a human is as valuable as the tool he is using to get the output. We can enable tools, but the humans need to be enabled at the end of the day, how they can use Meltwater better at the end of the day, how they can use media monitoring better using the tools, how they can build these models up.
Yeah, I think we've already said enough around the tools that we have, we can access. One thing I just want to share is that I know from the other side, it becomes important to let your clients know that you respect copyright, that the language that you're using in the content that you're creating should not look like an AI-generated piece. You have to get in creativity, etc., all of that there, and inform it with deep insights, which you now can get with the help of AI tools. So I think that bit of creativity you need to exercise while you share content using AI. Yeah.
Okay, our time is running out. Any questions from the audience for the panelists? Anybody wants to know, to ask anything? Because otherwise then we'll use our extra buffer time to continue our discussion on the guardrails. And Shivram, you were, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, last year we had created a AI advisory internally, and I think one of the things we did was we made everybody sign a disclosure and a compliance note that said that, you know, we will not upload client confidential information. We will not put information at risk of the organization. So I think we've been doing things like that to make sure that everybody knows the potential pitfalls of exposing, confidential data. Because I think at the end of the day, there are implications for us from a legal, contractual, copyright, ownership perspective. And I think lastly, I think to your point, I think it's really important that if you're using AI, if you're using an AI tool to create an image or any other piece of work, I think you have to have full disclosure to clients that that we've actually, this is the source of this information and data. I think you have to make sure that you're pretty much accurate and bang on those things. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Pranav. I really wish we had 15 more minutes, but we're really out of time. Thank you so much. Thanks, Shivram, Pranav, Seema, Mahesh.